seconds. $11. We are live, you guys. Hello,
Let me
everyone.
grab my
And thank you for tuning in to Curve Uncensored. I am your host, Carolyn. And look, we have a great show scheduled tonight for you. We have some great guys here that's going to give us some. Hold on. Are you with Blair?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, just checking. All right, we have 4 guys here that's going to give us some really good information. Like always on Curve Uncensored, we keep it real. So that's what we're going to do. Tonight we're talking about why are we losing so many of our young men to the streets, in the streets, however you want to slice and dice it. It's the same thing. And right now I'm doing a relationship series on Curve Uncensored, but tonight I wanted to kind of deviate a little bit from that, just to kind of, because this particular topic has been on my mind and I've been just thinking about it over and over, because every time I go to YouTube or every time I look at the news, I'm hearing about one of our young men dying in the streets, or women. It's every time you turn around, it's someone. And I'm telling you, all races of course have their own issues, but it seems like our race, I don't get into statistics because they're always flawed or shaped and baked. So I'm just saying, from what I see, a lot of it happens in our race with our young people. So it's not just affecting the people that are actually being killed, it's also affecting our future. So I just wanted to deviate from the relationship series so we can go ahead and talk about it. And I have 4 guests on the show that's going to give us some really good information from their own personal experience. I have some guys on here that have really lived. And then I have a younger generation on here, millennial. And he's just going to give us some insight from his standpoint. It's my grandson, and his name is D. That's what we call him. And he's going to kind of let us know, let me know why. Maybe I just don't get it. Because I just don't get why, so many, it seems like guns are the first thing that people, go to when it comes to resolving an issue. So let's go ahead and get into it. First, I want to introduce Ben. He's my special guest. He's been with me like 2 weeks back to back. Hey, Ben, how are you tonight? Ben is great. I'm glad to hear that. Ben is an author, an entrepreneur. He's a musician. What else? An actor. He's done a lot, and he's doing a lot. He has a book that's out right now that's done very well. And I thank you, Ben, for being here.
Oh, most welcome. Thank you for having me.
Now I had to remember all the hats you wear because you do so much. I also have my brother on from another mother. Say hello, Larry.
Hey, afternoon. How's everybody?
Me and Larry go way back, and
Hey,
we've done a
big
lot.
sis.
Yes,
Big
yes.
sis, man.
And Larry is the entrepreneur. Larry is a man who has lived, and he has done a lot. He has a lot of things on the table right now. He's a motivational speaker. He inspires a lot of young men that he works with on a daily basis. And Larry really has some real good life experience he's going to be able to share with us tonight. And thank you, Larry, for being a part of your sister's show. I appreciate you.
Blessings.
I also have my grandson that I love dearly, Driscoll. D is what we call it. He's laughing. That's an inside joke, right? But D is my grandson, and he's lived a lot too. He's an artist. He's a student, and he's an artist. So he's actually, and also let me backtrack for a quick second. Larry is an artist too. That's how we met. Actually, I used to have a record label by the name of Hotlanta Records, and Larry was one of my artists at the time, and that's how we met and became friends many years ago, and we still kick it. But I forgot to say that. But my grandson he's the aspiring rapper, and he's very good, I must say. And he's going to give us some insight from the millennial standpoint. Maybe it's just that grandma just don't get it, So he's going to give us some insight, and he's going to let me know what I'm missing, why why he thinks that maybe they result to guns. Maybe, I just don't know. Maybe it's just something that I'm just not feeling and I don't get. So first of all, thank you all for being here. And one of the things that kind of outside of just wanting to talk about it and seeing it on the news and YouTube, back in November, I'm sure anyone who kind of follows rap at all, my grandson, I picked him up from school and he came to me, he said, Mama, which is what they call me, he's like, do you know this rapper named Young Dolph? And at the time I was like, no. Why, what's going on? And that was the first I had heard of him. And he said he was just killed. And I was like, what? Because every time I turn around, someone was getting killed. And I was like, well, no, I didn't. So right after he told me, I mean, man, I went to YouTube. It was blowing up. That's all everyone was talking about. Young Dolph being murdered. And Young Dolph, in case you don't know, is a rapper. He was from Memphis. Well, technically, he wasn't from Memphis. He was born, I think, don't quote me, but I think Chicago. Am I correct? D, was he born in Chicago? Was it Chicago? I think it was Chicago or somewhere like that. He was born, but anyway, he lived and he was raised in Memphis ever since he was like 4, and he would in the whole, because like I said, I used to have a record label. In the whole atmosphere of rap and hip hop, they have a vibe. Everybody in the music, every they have their vibe and things that they deal with and they go through. You don't like this rapper, you want to move and get rid of that one and that kind of thing. So, but from what I could hear, he seemed to be a pretty nice guy that was giving back to the community. He was trying to help. He was trying to kind of help people because he remembered where he came from and he wanted to pull some people up. But of course, like we all know, you can't pull everybody up. That's just how it is. Whether you like it or not, you just can't pull everybody up. And so he had some people that he was, kind of battling with, or they was having issues. And he was supposed to give out turkeys this particular Thanksgiving, leading up to Thanksgiving, and he was gunned down in this cookie shop down in Memphis. And it's a whole lot of speculation behind his death and his murder. Right. And it was really sad. He has 2 young kids that I know of, and now there's those are 2 children that won't know their father outside of what people tell them, and what they remember in that little short period. So moving forward, backwards, whatever, there was another another rapper named Slim 400, I think his name was. He was a rapper in Compton, and he was shot and killed for giving a tribute to Young Dolph. So I guess they ain't like that. So they shot and killed him, after Young Dolph was murdered. And then of course, everyone knows about Nipsey Hussle. He was another artist that was trying to pull up people in his neighborhood. And then there was another rapper, Chicago, he was from Chicago, I believe. His name was King Von, and he got shot, I think, here in Atlanta while he was getting ready to enter a club. He was shot and 3 other people were wounded. And then of course you go back.
Mo 3.
Right, Mo 3, yeah. Then you got Tupac, Biggie. You got a whole lot of people in between. And it's not just the rappers. They're people, just everyday people. So when I heard about all this, I'm like, man, I want to do a show about this since I can do that. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to do a show about it. And I wanted to talk to some people who are in the music business and at this time are familiar with everything. So that's why I wanted to do this show. So I want to get right into it. Ben, I'm gonna get you up over there. What do you think is going on? Why do you think we're seeing so much, and it's not just the rappers I want to talk about. I just want to talk about the gun violence, period. What do you think is going on?
Well, one, I just moments ago just wiped some tears from my eyes.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's a sad state of affair. Coming from the streets and knowing how a lot of things can escalate, and how a lot of things most things can be talked out, and I'm saying that because I used to be a cat that did not know how to communicate. And I thought the only way to communicate was violence to get my point understood. but later on grew out of that. Um, that coupled with and tethered with uh, money and instant fame
Mm-hmm.
of I don't know about anybody else, but where I grew up in the Midwest,
Mm-hmm.
uh, making instant millionaires into a few people that I personally know that weren't educated in money. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which allows us to mature in a different way and to circumvent a particular type of maturity. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
But uh, but all that in the streets, if there's a way that we can just communicate better, uh, you know, males already have a low level of threat when we do communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm, mm,
We don't talk to each other as if we talk to our females or
Mm-hmm.
mm,
sisters or brothers or nieces or grandmothers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's already a low level of threat that we are aware of and we
mm,
understand it, even though it's unspoken. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We have this low level of threat that makes us respect each other on the offset.
mm.
And to be shot and killed at a cookie shop,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
One that
Not
you
not
visit
on,
all the time at that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is not on the parking lot of a club or you know what I mean, or somebody's house where there's something emanating as far as a misunderstanding.
Right.
But
Mm,
you know, and to have two young kids left behind, it's tragic. And
Mm-hmm.
mm,
I've came to a place where I had to sit down with my family members and with and say, oh, if anything happened to you, I'd be hurt and I'd be crushed.
Mm-hmm.
And I've suffered the humiliation of putting my making humiliating my family by the ignorant and bad choices that I've done to be on the news syndicate in a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this uh, this is tragic. This is very,
I
very tragic.
agree. What do you think, Larry? Why do you think guns are the
mm,
first source of reference? Seems like back in the day they would do diss tracks and the
mm,
things of that
mm,
nature. Why do you think that those are the first resorts? Seems like
mm,
that way.
mm. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the host uh,
You're welcome.
for allowing me to be a part of this beautiful ordeal, man. I mean, I'm elated. I'm elated, and I thank you for doing such a wonderful job at what you do.
You're welcome.
I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, right?
Right.
And you know, I you know, um, nobody ever told me it was gonna be easy or it was gonna be fair. And long road travel.
Mm-hmm.
And and at this moment, it's not about me. It's about people like me.
Right.
And purpose, man, and balance, man, and guidance. It's just so many different dynamics, man. That it's like and y'all familiar with algebra and stuff like that. A squared times b squared equals c squared. It's like you got to plug different formulas in, and we have men here, right? But every man is not a leader. Every
Mm-hmm.
man is not a leader, man. Malcolm X said, you only consider and consider a brother to be a brother when he is acting, like a brother, man. And this ain't about no black or white thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
And and there's a lot of
Well, let me interrupt you real quick. And then I'm gonna move on to D because I want to find out what he thinks of why he thinks that. guns are the
Mm-hmm.
first course of resort. When you say
Right.
it's not a black thing, right? I agree because there are killings and things like that that happens in all races
Mm-hmm.
of people. But to me, from what I'm hearing, it seems like a lot of it happens within our race. It's almost like we have a lot of issues about the police killing our young men and everything. But it seems like
Mm-hmm.
the first thing we do when we get upset is we want to kill. There's no more discussion. There's no more let's talk about it. Not even let's fight it
Let's
out.
fight. Let's fight.
Yeah.
Ain't
They
gonna be
don't
none of that.
they ain't fighting.
It ain't gonna never be none. A lot. And to make it short, because man, look, man, it's real over here, man. And I can go with you, man. We could write a whole story, a whole book, a whole movie about this right now. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, it's like I said, see that pride and that ego. That's the thing that's crippling us. We're crippled because it's dudes like me. It's dudes that that we be victimized. We go to prison and stuff like that, right? Let's just speak upon that part. But we have a bigger job than just prison, man. God set us down for a moment in time, and because you know what, you have to become the salt, man. You have to, we got a job to do, man. A lot of us not doing our job, man. And these little dudes out here dying, and they talking about some rap music, and and it hurt. It
Yeah,
do.
it does. It does.
And you're not even kin to me, but because my little brothers, man, like this little guy right here,
Mm-hmm.
that's my responsibility. I'm responsible for him. No
Right.
matter what, man. I'm in New Orleans, Louisiana. He waiting in Atlanta somewhere, but I'm responsible for him because I'm a vessel. But I don't want to take up all the time, man, because
But well,
you
let me say this. Let me ask D. D, you're the younger one on the panel, of course, tonight. And like I said, you're my grandson, and but I want you to be open and honest about the way you feel about what we're talking about tonight. Why do you think so many young people resort to guns now?
I would say to me, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's because social media play a really big part in our lives now.
mm, mm. Come
Mm-hmm.
on now.
So like when people get like fighting, when you see somebody fight and that one person lose, it's
Come on, little
going on
brother.
social media. It's going everywhere too.
Come
So
on.
once that get
Come on.
everywhere, his ego is gone. He like, okay, I can't go like that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So once he figure he can't go like that, the first thing he resort to is a gun because it's like,
Come on. Come on.
how else you gonna get the opposition out the way?
Come on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like that's what I think. I think social media is the reason why people can't just take L's now
Mm-hmm.
and learn from their L.
Come on, little brother.
Do you think family dynamics play a role? That's I would like to ask each one of you all because we all come from different backgrounds, and even Dee's my grandson, of course, and he and I share a little bit of our background, but I have D right now. I'm raising D because I lost his mother, and
Mm.
that my oldest child, and
Right.
you know,
Right.
and
Right. 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 God, all right. God got it. God gonna take care of
And
it.
do you all think family dynamics play a role in the way that most of these young men and young women deal with things? Like we know social media is a big influence. That's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about. Social media. But do you think family dynamics play as big a role, or you think social media is trumping that?
Mm. Come on.
What do you think,
Um.
D?
Well, I think it's like it's different for certain people because like I feel like in my head with most families, I would say social media only because sometimes sometimes like how you my grandma, sometimes you wouldn't know what I got going on social media because
Right,
I'm not saying anything.
right.
So like kids who dying over guns and social media, they parents probably don't even know what's going on.
Come on now.
I agree.
Come on. Come
I
So
on.
when they
that was good.
Come on.
That was real good,
Hey,
actually.
you pretty sharp. You pretty sharp for a young man.
I know,
You
right?
pretty sharp, man. Yeah.
I agree with that. What do you think, Ben?
Well, yeah, I definitely uh, believe family dynamics, along with the times that we live in. You know what I mean? That plays. He says, the gentleman says, social media, but it also the environment. You know what I mean? That you're raised up in, the
Mm,
psychosocial
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh, environment that you're raised up in, because you may be raised up uh, uh, and being taught the structure to communicate, and you may be raised up to deal with the situation another way. And
Mm-hmm.
like, as for instance, I remember in Chicago there was this basketball star that was supposed to be the next Jordan. I,
Mm-hmm.
I and wow, uh, uh, his name was Ben. Also, I forget his last name, but he was shot, and the person that shot him uh, was I believe he said his father or his uncle used to tell him, look, if you're gonna pull a gun, be ready to use it. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And just to be it turned out to be an altercation that that families were just heartbroken over. And to go back to your first question,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, guns are for self-defense, not to commit crime.
Exactly. So they're
You
in
know
the
what I
wrong
mean?
hands, right?
Yeah, yeah. The weapon becomes a misunderstood masculinity within the dynamic of warfare, and certain people should not have access to deadly weapons. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Most people think we're gonna shoot somebody and they're gonna say, "Ouch!" No, they're gone.
Well, this is what
You
I
know
would like to say. I remember, I want to say it was about a year or so ago. Time flies
what
so much, but I remember looking at TV and they had guys downtown walking around with like shotguns and AKs and all kind of foolishness. And this
yeah.
little young girl got shot. Her mother was
Wow.
trying to pass through it. It was a big thing, and she was shot because they were trying to go through to go home. I believe is where they were trying to go, and I just could not understand. I understand we're in Georgia, we're in the Atlanta area, and Georgia has some crazy gun rules, and
Yeah.
if you are walking around with certain guns, police officers now, they can't even come up to you. They could ask you, say, hey, you're making people uncomfortable in here, but they cannot make you put that gun up. I did not realize that. I thought
Yeah.
that
mm,
who will allow you to walk around with rifles, and I didn't
Yeah.
understand why these guys are allowed to walk around downtown
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
city
Yeah. Yeah. They
and
have a
blocking
they
off the
have a
street and
they
with
have the right
guns.
to they have a right to bear arms, and they have a right to uh the thing is, it's tricky because some people have a right to carry a concealed weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And those are the individuals that we don't know about.
Well, they're supposed to
See,
have a background check with those.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But what I'm saying is, those who are able to carry a concealed weapon means they're able to. You won't know that they have it on them. So those
Right.
that do have their weapons in the open,
Mm-hmm.
that's their right. But some of them don't pass to have concealed weapons. The meaning that they can get a weapon, but they not permitted to have it hidden on their body.
Right. Larry, what about New Orleans? Do you
mm.
all see a lot of that? Most people, my daughter and Erica and I, we were always taught because she was a criminal justice major, and her and I would always have this conversation about people being licensed to carry and stuff of that nature. And she was like, "Well, they changed the gun law. That's only going to make it
Mm.
difficult for the people who are going to get them legal."
Mhm.
Because people who are going to get guns illegal going to still get them illegal.
That's 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 the same thing that happened in Delaware,
What happened?
right?
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter where you at, you know. And I use Delaware as a place because you ain't gonna hear nobody talk about, oh man, I'm from Delaware, I represent Delaware.
Right.
You
No, you
know,
shall not.
even even in some of the most uncommon places,
Right.
you have to be mindful of the dynamics of just people and the way the world operate, man. The things that the society of it all, you can make gun laws and gun rules and all this, and you know, it, it, it's just gonna happen, man. It's just like
Why do you think back in the day? Why do you think things have changed so much? Like back in the day, when people had problems, the rappers or whatever,
respect.
they would write come up with diss tracks. You know what I'm saying? Then
Res-
they go on and make their money. And then because you have pop, R&B, you have gospel. Being a musician, being you're actually a musician, so you deal with all facets of different type music, not just rap.
It
Okay,
all
everybody seems like all those other genres of music, they can go make their money and live in nice homes and enjoy life and travel the world. But rap
yeah, but it
is
all comes
different. Why
back
do you
to
think?
um to ego,
Mm-hmm.
pride, um allowing people to be people, because we even have let's not sleep on, you know, the gay community, things of that nature, because all those guys that rap and stuff, and then you see these guys coming out and, you know, exposing themselves to be gay, because all this happens in every, you know what I'm saying, area of music, period. But you have
Okay.
to allow people, you have to have allow people to be people.
Right.
And then sometimes, you know, people discriminate, and then even if you got, I'm from here, I'm from there, I'm from here, I'm from there, um pride and ego, you know, the ego gonna feed on that negativity,
Mm-hmm.
and
What were you?
they can.
Let me ask. Let me ask Ben real quick. What were you gonna say, Ben? You were gonna say something. Do you
Uh,
remember?
yeah, you mentioned it earlier. You know, diss
Mm-hmm.
tracks was used to be uh, entertainment, but nowadays they're being taken so seriously.
Right,
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
right,
and the way that the the rap industry machine goes, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the labels and industries really don't care about
hmm
personal feelings. They're gonna make a come up off of this. I can't, you know,
Exactly.
industry
Exactly.
of rap
whatever's gonna
in,
sell.
in the
Mm-hmm.
industry of rap entertainment, it is the only place where we can make public threats
Mm-hmm.
about
Right,
killing someone and getting away with it.
right,
If
Mm-hmm.
we do
right.
that in the public or to the police, we get arrested. If we
Mm-hmm.
do it publicly to someone in the real world, it's considered a terroristic threat.
Mm-hmm.
You
But
know what I mean? So, you know,
Right.
we end up beefing, and most people, yeah, like you said, we used to go home, but nowadays somebody's going to retaliate, and
Mm-hmm.
the problem is really with us. We're distressed as a people, and
Mm-hmm.
we need to change our nature. I can get a record deal right now if all I got to do is sing and rap about murdering ourselves.
Or
And what's
sex.
crazy, yeah, yeah, and what's
but
crazy
see, but
and what's
but
crazy about it is that, you know, from what I've heard about the Memphis and Young Dolph situation
Mm-hmm.
is that there was, you know, and this is just some research
Right.
I've researched on, is that there was songs bragging about uh, the the murdering and doing whatever to another
but
type
that's
of
what
and I think it got too far. It shouldn't have get like that. You know
but
what I
that's
mean?
how but that's what everything today. I don't
Right.
mean to cut you off, but that's what
Oh yeah,
everything today. And before this, it's been that way forever. Even when we had the Tupac and the biggest situation, and then this one and that one situation. So that's things that just carried on and on. But this generation today, these young kids, man, like, you know, like they always say, a grandma this grandmas are 30 years old now, just to bring it to, you know, just to another, you know, put another twist on it. Grandmothers are 30 years old. So now you got these kids coming to, man, 15 years old, man. Look where I'm from, man. Look, these dudes already got hats, man.
no,
13 years old. These little dudes got bodies already, man. And I just see it from a different perspective, because they're not playing down here, bro. See, in New
Right.
Orleans,
Right. Right.
Louisiana, and I know they ain't playing nowhere else, bro. And just like I said, Delaware, they ain't playing in Delaware either. You understand
Mm-mm.
what I'm saying? But see down here, right here, and there's a lot of us, man. Look, bro. We are so highly intellectual, bro, and we're so contagious. You know, what are we contagious for, man? We got to make that difference, man. You know, who gonna do the job?
But let me ask D a quick question. D, do you think you want to be a rapper successfully? That's one of the things you want to do. Of course, we've spoken about it, but I always told you that's a plan B. That's not a plan A, right?
Mhm.
Do you ever have second guess that with all you see going on in rap? Is it something you still think that you would want to do? Because it seems like in order to be successful, you got to get out here and do something mad crazy. You got to create a beef if you don't have one. You know what I'm saying? So did this something you think that you
I feel
still
like people just, I don't know. I feel like some rappers, like, they can stay to themselves. I feel like people just stir things up, like TMZ. They make a problem
Right,
out of
right. The
out of
media
nothing.
hype.
Right. There could be no problem. The problem could be like this, but once it get on that TV screen, it's gonna go like this.
Right, it's
Mhm.
gonna escalate. It's gonna escalate.
Right.
because you
Right,
go back to
But
pride.
right.
right. To that pride and that ego feeding.
What were you gonna say,
But
D? You
for me, I don't know. I feel like I never second guess it. I've gone this long without putting myself in a crazy position. So I feel like most people change when they get that type of, like,
clout
I don't want to
money.
put clout, basically. Like when they get that type of clout, they change. But I feel like if I'm a state of myself. Only thing, if I make it in the rap game, the only thing I'm focused on is the money and the family. That's it. I'm not really worried about nothing, nobody else.
Let me ask you all that because I often say like I feel like like you were saying earlier, Ben, the rap industry, the music industry. And the reason I keep focusing on rap is because that's where I see a lot of the demise coming in at. The other, like I said earlier, pop and all those other genres, they seem like they just do their thing and make their money and get on about their business. But I'm referencing rap because they have no sense, some of them, not
Yeah, you
all of
can't go.
them, because you got Queen Latifah's of the day, and you have other rappers
But
and stuff that
but
make their money and do well. But you do have a lot of it just seems like I don't get it. It's like they don't have enough old school people stepping up to help
that's
encourage it
my
and
point.
change it
Oh, come on, come
and
on.
turn. What do you all think about that? Do you think that they will even listen?
Right, right,
They would respect?
right.
I you know, you know, this is what Curb Uncensored is about. Where
Yes.
life and reality
Intersect. Right.
the psychologically and historically supported that there has always been a machine across various industries that presents to the Black community a misrepresentation of our own image and mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and they present that to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was just thinking the other day. You know, have you noticed that there are only Black versus battles? You know
Yes.
what I mean? Why
Yeah.
why isn't
Yep.
there Justin Bieber and Justin Timberlake doing a versus battle? Why is it always
Cause they
Black versus battle?
moonwalking in Vegas.
Yeah,
Cloud
yeah.
bases.
Making their
You
money. They
know,
getting a residency. They ain't trying
you
to do
know,
no verses.
with with our unique passion and ambition to become successful in this life,
Mm-hmm.
we look at this. Some rappers look at this degradation as a hobby, job, and way of life, and they're not concerned about it because
Mm-hmm.
subconsciously, some may be on autopilot about the issues that are in our very community.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we're in a state of emergency, and this
I
particular
agree.
industry, uh, we are not. Why are we the only race that despise ourselves? We have
Mm-hmm.
arrived at this intersection. It's not to play on words of Curb Uncensored, where life
Mm-hmm.
and reality intersects, but we are here at this intersection where
Mm-hmm.
we're at a state of emergency. You know what I mean?
And I think a lot of the
Hey,
CEOs of these record companies, they need to be
Yes,
held more accountable for
yes,
a lot of because they don't care. They just want to get the dollars because they make money off of the
yes.
record sales. The artists make money off of performing. We all know
let me
that.
tell you, sometimes they aren't held accountable because we have to. All right, like I said earlier, it's not about black or white, right? But it's about, for me, it's like this here. We
But
are
it is to
struggling.
a certain extent. Because
Exactly, and that's why I'm about to make the statement.
okay.
We are struggling still to break the slave mentality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, man, we so stuck, man, and so just so behind the eight ball, you know, as a people until, you know, like you just said, Calvin, you know, in so many words, man, we have a job to do, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
not enough people doing the job. We talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. We come on shows, we go here, we
Mm-hmm.
go there, and we go there, and it continues to be talk, 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 talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but when does the action, man?
So what do you
I
suggest? What do you suggest? How do we, because we know I mean, people have
okay.
tried. Hold on.
Oh,
People have tried. They
mm-hmm.
do these what they call gun buyback things, right?
Right, right, right,
Okay.
right,
Well,
right,
we
right, right.
know they're not bringing the real power to those gun buybacks. Bringing the little guns that they don't use. They're not bringing no nines.
We
They're
not
not
gonna
bringing no AKs up in there.
we not gonna never get rid of that problem.
But so what do? You let it keep growing, or what do you do to
Um,
try to
we begin
start
to
curbing it?
we begin to be active, you know, proactive, and um, you know, most of us, you know, you have the pulpit, then you have, you know, God's people. I speak about God so highly because you know, I know this might not be a thing of religion, but I speak of God so highly because I'm just a firm believer. But that's you know, you have those in the pulpit, then you have those of my teaching, and I thank God for everything that's
But
been done in my
everybody don't
life.
have to have, and I'm just being right here. I never like to say devil's advocate because I'm never an advocate for the devil. But I'm just saying, but everybody doesn't have the same relationship with God. See, that comes
All right, but
from a different perspective when
but
you're
then
a
we
person
begin,
that doesn't have that relationship. So yeah, it
we,
works
we,
for people who do.
we don't speak it in the godly term, then, right? So then we become advocates of being inspiration and brothers, you know. But it take us to go. The war is not in the church, man. You know, the war is out here on these streets.
Go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
No,
go
no,
ahead,
no, no.
Ben.
no.
I think Ben want to jump in.
I think I think the way the technology is going,
Mm-hmm.
that guns will be obsolete. I really do believe that. The way the
You do?
technology is going, um, because uh, if we notice the nuances and marks in technology,
Okay.
people are always wanting the better thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we got tasers. Now they got this thing called the rope, where it shoots a rope out and ties your body. You know what I mean? So, but the police are trying to get out of the accountability of deadly force. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And that's needed.
yeah, yeah, it's
I'm
needed.
just talking about war. Period. I'm just
I
talking
know,
about
I
war.
know,
Period. We just talking
I
about
know,
war
I
in these streets, man. You know, I'm talking about, man. Look, let me tell you something, man. These people sending stuff in, bro, and it's gonna be a continuous thing, man. You know, getting the guns off the street. They run all these different programs and stuff like that, man. But that's something that's not gonna happen because it starts with
I
us,
don't
man.
think so either.
I, I, I,
We got it start right here. Let me tell you why it start right here, brother. And I respect your, you know, your cause. But let me tell you why it start. Look, I'm from there, you know, and I appreciate this opportunity. I'm from there, been there, man. You understand what I'm talking about? And it's just some things that just not gonna happen. I might not live to see it. It might happen, but I'm not gonna live to see it. I don't think you're gonna live to see it. It's just by design, man. It's just by
Think it is.
design,
I think
brother.
it is by design, and I think that's why one of the reasons why they put so many people. Like if you look in projects, most of the projects around, I don't care. Like
Come
you
on.
say everywhere. The I would say 99. I'm willing to say almost 99%. Nothing's 100, but at least 98% of the population in there are African Americans. You
Come
have
on, and
people
that's all we, and
you
that's
have
what we
people in
get.
those environments who don't have very much money.
You,
Education is very low.
you,
And if you have a lot of them have children very young, which that had nothing to do with it because I had my daughter young as well. But you have to have someone encouraging you to
man,
do better,
amen.
or you will keep having those babies and things of that nature.
Come
I
on,
just think
come
they
on,
put everybody in, and it's like being crabs in the bottom of the
come on,
barrel. when you
Come
in the
on.
back in a position where you at the bottom of the barrel, everybody's trying to get up. They gonna step on each other.
Come
They
on.
gonna pull each other down. They gonna claw each other. They gonna.
That's right.
It's just, and that's
I got.
what it's just what
I
I
have
see.
4. I have 4 other little brothers, man. One of them retired military vet. He's my first cousin, but he's my little brother. I raised him. Retired military veteran. I have one brother, an artist, one of the coldest tattoo artists in painting, anything to do with art. He has a tattoo shop in Atlanta, right? I have another one. He's a physical education teacher. And you know what? And it's me. And it's like I took that pressure off of them to know what it is like to do certain things or to be in certain positions, so they wouldn't have to experience that. I know that I have a job to do, and there's more guys like me out there that have a job to do because by design, it was against me. You know, the deck is stacked against me anyway. So I got to play the hand that I'm played. I have to play right now. I have to play that hand until it's my turn to deal. And then when it's my turn to deal, I could deal my hand like I want it to be. You know, it's by
Right.
design, baby.
What you
But I'm
think,
going to
D?
somebody
Do
else.
you
Somebody,
D? Do you
D,
think
D,
D? What do you
D.
think? Do you think it's by when we mean by design? Like when you think about a lot of it has a lot to do with the family dynamics. That's what we're talking about, and not necessarily in the family in your home. Because back in the day, the way I know when I was back in the 80s, they didn't raise you a lot to go to college. They raised you. They taught you to graduate from high school, and then you go get a job.
Right.
And then when you get a job, you try to stay there and retire. They didn't encourage entrepreneurship like you guys are doing, and like I'm doing. Like I encourage my grandson to eventually start his own business. They didn't encourage that. Most of the time honestly, you're going to work, you're working for a white man. That's just kind of how it was. So what do you think about that, D? Do you think changing the way of the environments, kind of changing the dynamics of the projects, or I also would like to say changing the prisons. I want to talk to you about that, Larry. What do you think, D? Do you think some change can start there?
Like, as in change, you mean like getting rid of the projects or building them up?
Building them up and putting more things in place that can help provide encouragement to the people, because I always think most things start from home.
I feel like if they was to build it up, you still have those certain like people that's gonna end up back in that area, and that's what's gonna make it the projects all over again. Because you have those group of people who gonna go there, then they gonna make kids. Their kids gonna follow them, and it's just gonna be before you know it, you're gonna have projects again.
So, will you think education?
Education.
You think education is education? It would be
I say
good thing.
Education and influence.
Because
I feel like the stuff I was doing before I got to your house, I'm not doing that no more because I have structure. I have influence, people that can help me, look for different ways to do, different things, and legally at that.
Right.
So it's not like, I feel like it's just influence in the environment that you're in. Like if they build it up and put good, like I'm not gonna say good people. Well, I mean, good people, like good-minded people in that area. I feel like it won't have an influence on everybody, but it'll affect some people. Like it'll affect certain people that's been there for that long, and they like, you know what, I want to live like this instead of living like this.
Because you can never, that old saying, if I can change, influence, one person, I made a difference. What you think about that, Ben?
Well, first, can I add to
Larry?
what D was saying?
Oh, what D was saying? Yeah.
Because gentrification is real. Gentrification is real.
I agree.
We have been convinced that we need to move out, and I see it right downtown. Everywhere that I've lived at, Black people have been convinced to move out of the ghetto and the hoods and move in the suburbs, and then these bankers and land developers, they build that property right back up, and then white people move into the ghetto.
Come on, come on, gentrified.
The gentrification is real. It's not physically; it's going to be mentally. They're going to try to get the idea first because I went back in areas where I grew up in. I was like, yo, you know,
Hmm.
I'm seeing a whole different race. Not trying to make it racial,
It happens
but
everywhere too.
yeah. So I'm like, wow, this is the area I grew up in. Where did all these people? And I'm noticing, wow, everybody I grew up moved out of this
Look,
area.
they be walking dogs down the street.
Dogs
Come on, come on, come
and
on,
their kids and the
come on,
kids in the strollers
Yes.
at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
come
And you
on.
like,
I mean,
what?
yo, so and I'm thinking to myself, wow, why are they doing this in a dangerous area? And I look, it
Not the
is like,
same.
wow, over time, I did not realize that we
Mm-hmm.
moved out
Right.
and they moved in and then they built properties and townhomes and businesses. I remember, and I don't want to make this point long, but I
Mm-hmm.
remember in 2004, I saw on the news, kid you not, I was in Atlanta and I saw on a news syndicate, uh, they had this scale model table, and
Mm-hmm.
this is 2004,
Mm-hmm.
a big round table of how the Atlanta metropolis was supposed to look in 75 years.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And then they had new highways, a new dome, a new baseball field in this area. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, wow, that's dope. But
Mm-hmm.
then later on, like 10 years, I was like, wow, 75 years, the people who's planning this ain't even going to be around.
Exactly.
The people who bought all this stuff ain't even going to be around. They're going to be
Mm-hmm.
dead and gone and leaving
Mm-hmm.
it to their next generation.
Mm-hmm.
And as slowly by surely, the new highway is here.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
new dome is here. The new
Mm-hmm.
baseball field is here.
Right.
It goes to show that they already bought up the property. They're just waiting.
Mm-hmm. For opportunity.
Opportunity. There's an old saying, when there's blood on the street, buy up property.
Mm-hmm.
When we're killing ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
buy property.
And I can attest to that because even like now with different properties or whatnot, if you own property, you constantly have phone calls coming, people wanting to buy your property, but they think you're ignorant enough to not know the value because
Mm.
most of us think a few $1,000s is a whole lot of
Mm-hmm.
money because that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing that we've always been behind on is cash. You know what I'm saying? So that goes back to the music industry. When those boys make all that money, they have all this money, but they haven't been
Right.
educated. I wish my
Educated
husband could tell me.
finances.
There was a African American. It was a guy years ago. He was a professional football player, I think he was, and he ended up, I think, being broke or something. And when he first went to the league, he didn't even know how to count. But he had graduated from college, honey. Who was he? Dexter Manley. He's not
Washington
broke.
Redskins.
Right, Washington
Washington
Redskins. My
Redskins.
husband said he's not broke, but he couldn't count. And
Wow.
he couldn't read. Okay, he couldn't
Couldn't
read.
read.
He
That's
couldn't
right.
read.
That's right. That's right.
So if you can't read, can you really count?
Wow.
I mean, can you
Wow.
really count? You know what I mean? You might know the small numbers, but do you really know the value in the larger numbers? When we get
Come
to the
on.
millions, and then you have
Come on.
people, manning your money and making decisions for you. So that's why a lot of times
And
they
you
started
can't even comprehend it.
you can't even comprehend it. So to me, if you can't read, you probably really don't have a good understanding of math.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So I
That's
could be
right.
wrong, but I'm so glad.
You
Hopefully
always
by now
you always become a dependent.
Yeah, I just remember us talking about. I didn't know the detail of the story, but I do remember him speaking. It's so weird to me because I was like, that's why I try to with my children. I try to encourage education. My grandfather would always say that's something no one can. You're gonna
They
go to
can't
your
take that from you.
grave with your same education. They can never
Can't take
take
that.
it from you. So
Take it
to
from you.
kind of go back to this really quick, because I know we can talk about this forever, and we'll have
Right.
another
Right.
show about it. But I think it needs to start. I do think. Let me say this real quick. And Larry, you have I think the most experience on this. The prison systems. I feel like there needs to be some sort of deterrent to they need a revamp of the prison system because I swear I don't know much about it, but I swear they be on vacation. They just can't go out and do the things they want to do.
Vacation.
They be saying ain't no vacation like
20 years, 20 some odd years ain't no vacation, you
that's
heard
a
me?
long
That's
excursion.
a journey.
No,
That's
Larry,
a
but you know I'm
journey.
being facetious. I'm just being a little funny. I'm
Uh,
just saying it just seems like they chilling. I mean, they chilling. They have on the Air Force One. They be
it don't matter.
but where
And
you going though, Larry?
I'd rather be walking out here barefoot than be walking there with some Air Force
with
Ones
some
on.
Air Force Ones.
Just, you know.
But what I'm saying, Ben had to step away for a minute. But what I'm saying is just that it just seems like that there needs to be some sort of revamp in the prison system. What you think?
When it comes to prison, um, man, it's just so much I can say about prison. But
Do you think it need to be any type of deterrent? If you were to go back on, being young and a lot of the young men that are going in and out
yeah,
of the prison systems,
yeah,
do you think they need to be a little more deterrent? Like they need to do.
exactly. Concrete evidence. You know, you got so many dudes sitting in prison right now, man. Them dudes ain't, it's, and then for the crime, man. I mean, the penalty has to be so harsh. I mean, it's crazy how, we sitting in prison and then, you convicted me bad on the circumstantial evidence and the
Mm-hmm.
evidence not even concrete, but just because it make you feel like you're a black man, your penalty is even harsh. And then
And that's the part that's not
and, and, and by the
that's the
time
part that's not fair. Yeah.
you want me to carve out to 30 years to 20 years, or you want me to take 20 years or go to trial and you're gonna give me life, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I got a choice to make. Come on, man. Come on, man. All right, what is the penalty for life? What is the penalty for 20 years? What charge mandates 20 years on?
But when you think about people, like say for instance, like someone who's a prisoner, right? Who's in prison or whatever, or they
Mm-hmm.
commit a crime, right? And then they go to prison. They at least can get out in 20 years. Sometimes people they take someone's family member and they lost that family member for a lifetime.
Yeah, but it's a decision you have to make. Man, I'm innocent, or do I just cop out to 20 years, or do I go to trial and risk taking a life sentence? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hard juggle because you're like, but the reality of it all is shit. If I
Go
take
ahead.
these 20 years, it might take me 20 years to give the time back.
But what about the crime that's being done to put you in jail for 20 years?
I mean,
I mean, man, like if you out here and
ooh.
if you be out here and you be there and kill somebody, that's what I'm saying. If you
Man,
out
don't you know?
here,
I met a guy. I met a guy in prison, man. The guy got 25 years because he had a spent bullet case on his neck on a chain. It had nothing. It was just a spent bullet casing. But because he was a convicted felon, he wasn't supposed to be in, you know, no activity for his guns and
right, right.
25 years, man.
Now now look, I'm not talking about those kind of things. I'm saying that right is
That's
right and wrong
crazy.
is wrong. That's not fair. That's something that's totally not fair. But
Yeah,
what
that's not fair.
I'm saying no. I'm talking about the folks. You know what I'm saying? Who done really did some heinous things out here. You need to be
Nah,
sitting. If you take someone's life, you need to give yours. That's just how I feel about it. I don't feel like you should be there, be like, okay, I've learned the lesson. Now I want to get out and live my life. What about my loved one?
right.
Now those
And
are the crimes I'm talking about. I'm not talking about
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. That's foolishness. You know what
okay,
I'm saying? You need to call Kim Kardashian or somebody.
ah,
Get him up out of there.
and you see when it comes down to stuff like that, man, it's
Right, now
like,
that's different. But I'm talking about crime, real crimes. You know what I'm saying? If you're in there for a serious crime or whatnot, you take a life, you need to sit it down. Who gives somebody the right to decide that they want to take someone's life? No, you need to sit, buddy.
right.
So that's
I
just how I
agree.
feel. I feel like there needs to be some sort of revamp of the prison system. I mean, I mean, not people going to jail who are innocent. No, I'm not for that because our boys seem to fall to that victim to that a lot. So no, I'm not for that. But
Okay, how would you feel about a self defense?
that's different. My life, your life. I mean, you my brother, so not your life, but somebody else's life. Then I mean, self defense. Then we got to see who gonna be standing at the end.
You know, and
That's different.
still, you know, in different states, the laws are different in every state, even when the self comes to self defense laws. You know,
That comes
um,
down to money. Like, can
see,
you
see
afford
with
a
me,
good
see with
attorney?
me. You know what it is? We see child molestation,
Yeah,
rape.
that.
See child molestation, rape,
Mm-hmm.
and even in cases of innocent, and you just couldn't compose yourself, or you just couldn't, you know, things like that nature right there. That stuff that just like, man, what is you know, that stuff just make you be like, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
penalty for that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. To me, it goes back to depending on the. That's why I'm saying like the boys around here that's shooting up people, like the rappers who are creating battles with for no reason.
But on that aspect right there, me coming from where I come from and knowing, look, I'm 45, man. I'll be 46 this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something, man. The game has changed so much, man. Look, let me tell you something. You know, the game don't change. We change. And as we change, the game change. Because, you know, the same principles that I come up on under in late 80s, early 90s, man, look, that's the principles that should stick. You know, and sometimes people do things in these streets, and amen is a penalty, man. Look, man, consequences, man, for every action, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know
it.
these guys, I don't know these dudes, but all I know God.
Right. That. Yeah.
It's a code, man. It's a code, man. But when you look, when you go to ripping pages out the book and you go to abide by different things like this here, man, look, you know what to do and you know what not to do. You knew what to
Mm-hmm.
do when you came in here. You knew what not to do when you got in here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just being as real as possible, my man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't sugarcoat it for this man, that man, or even for, you know, the show. Even for, I love my sister, man. I love my sister, man, and that's my. But I have to be firm,
Yeah. Right.
you know, because I don't know no other way. These rappers right now, let me tell you something. I don't listen to these little dudes, so I don't know that much about them. You know who I'm stuck on, bro?
Hmm.
I'm stuck on Mr. Brad Johnson, Mr. Brad Jordan, man. Mr. Brad Jordan from Houston, Texas, Scarface. Say, bro, let me tell you something, man. These little guys, bro, today, man, man, come up off the ego thing, man. Come up off the pride thing. Come up off the macho thing. Look, look. Find power
Hold on. Before
in
you go
who
there,
you
that
are.
sounds like a wrap up. So that sounds like a wrap up statement because we get ready to wrap up because you know this particular topic we'll go on and on all night. So I'm gonna interject real quick because that sounds like a wrap up kind of statement you get ready to make. You know, we almost we've gone over the time. So look, let's just kind of wrap it up and just kind of let's kind of end it. We'll kind of continue this on because this is something that we can talk about even longer. I feel so. Let's kind of wrap it up. Let's start with. I'm gonna start give you the flow, D. If you had to give some of your peers the words of advice, what would you tell them? Someone that's in the rap game, you know, that's out there had a beef. If you could be, if they say, you know what, I want to hear from this young man. I want him to tell me how I need to handle it. You know what I'm going through. What would you tell them to try to keep them out of trouble?
Really just stay to yourself, stay to your money, run it up. Don't worry about what other people got going on. Because when you do that, that's how you get yourself in situations you don't want to be in.
Mm-hmm. And it's
So I
easy
feel
to get
like,
in. Yeah.
yeah, it's easy to get in trouble. It's harder to get out of it.
There you
So I
go.
rather like you just gotta stay to your just mind your business. That's what I say. Just mind your business and run your money up.
And make your money. That's right. What about you, Ben? What would you do if you could give some wise words to someone and what we can do so we can learn how to live together and grow together and become successful? Because as a race, I mean, we got a lot to offer here, and we're taking each other out. at a record number.
We definitely gotta practice communicating
Mm-hmm.
with one another.
Right, right.
Be open to different perspectives. We're different in this world,
Mm-hmm.
and that really what's make us beautiful. If we embrace
Mm.
the fact that everybody is copying us, they won't copy our demise. You
Mm-mm.
know what I mean? They
Mm-mm.
copy everything about our culture. They copy our hair, our walk, our slang, our dance, but they
Our
won't copy killing
bodies.
us.
Our
Yeah,
bodies too.
yeah,
Don't forget
our,
that
our
now.
bodies, but they won't copy. They won't copy us killing ourselves,
No.
or they won't copy our triumph
And they won't
over our
copy trying to get
situation.
that job that we be trying to get either.
Yeah. So it's a unique thing, but if we take really good care of our own selves as a people and change our nature, we that'll stop them copying us. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? They everything that we produced under oppression.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Everything that they've made a monopoly off of is what we produce creatively under a lot of pressure through oppression.
Mm-hmm.
So if we just be creative enough to take back control of our own dance, our own speech, our own hair, our own fashion, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? We could break this machine, you know what I mean, and it'll be all right. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with being the owner of the creativity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be owned by another nation.
That's actually
Your
the
hair.
key.
Yeah, that is.
That is actually
Uh,
the key.
I saw, and I know this is a wrap up thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I saw years ago. Uh, there was not knocking people that aren't natural, but I saw uh, uh, a person on the corner selling relaxer, and I have it on my. I took a picture of this fella selling relaxer
You
for
was in the
cheap.
hood.
Like,
You had to be in
yeah,
the hood.
yeah, it was. It wasn't the hood, but they were
Okay.
selling relaxer for cheap,
Hey man,
and
you don't
it
know what you
just
might get in the hood.
but it speaks of volumes of how we broke that particular industry,
Mm-hmm.
where they
Mm-hmm.
are desperate to come down on their prices because
Mm-hmm.
hardly people are buying it now. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So if we could just love ourselves, communicate better,
Mm-hmm.
and give the world, uh, I always I'm going to say this:
Mm-hmm.
slavery interrupted us making history. They put a lot of focus on what we have contributed during the slavery process,
Mm-hmm.
but they won't admit to say it interrupted our history making process. So what we need to do is learn from that and make history again.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need to do.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Thank you so much, Ben. All right, Larry. I want to
Mm,
hear from you.
mm. First and foremost, I would like to encourage, people to let people be people, right? Be empowered by who and what you are, and not what you're trying to be. You know, so many of us are trying to take, so many people are trying to take on different images and, fabricating who they are,
Mm.
and all that is just like a cloak, something a vice, something to hold on to, man, instead of just being yourself, man. And it's a lot of things that's covered up under, what I'm saying, the makeup and the light, and man, some of these kids and man, people are hurting, man. Within, man, this is their way of expression, man. It's a modus expression, and man, I deal with a lot of kids every day. I'm at a college university, right? And I love these guys, man. I love these little young girls, man. They just on the basketball team, and it's genuine, man. And you wouldn't imagine some of the stories mentally. Sometimes, these kids are being, sent to school and they don't even know how to change it. They don't know how to give a jump on the car or change a battery or change a flat tire, man. You know, and I'm just saying that because, man, you know, there's a lot of us that we speak and we speak and we speak and we talk and we talk and we talk, and it's not enough of us doing our job. There's three things that a man or anyone has to, you know, to me, for me, it's three things you must know in life, you know, and I'm gonna use one word. I'm gonna sum it up with one word. And for me, this is me, my opinion, you know,
Mhm.
how I feel. This doesn't go for everybody else. I don't want you to feel how I feel. I want you to feel how you feel and your beliefs. Um, you know, what's enough for you, what's not enough for you, and what's too much for you, right? And that creates what? That creates balance. Just think about it. If you know what's enough for you, what's not enough for you, and what's too much for you, you can create balance like that. And balance in the inside of balance and understanding, and you know, like we say, the coming back to chemistry and all that algebra and stuff like that. You got wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We always hear wisdom, knowledge, and understanding so much, but shouldn't it be understanding wisdom and knowledge? Because I first have to understand how to apply the knowledge and the wisdom into anything in order for it to operate. Man, we got a job to do. You
Mhm.
know, we talk about how these kids out here with these guns, man. I look, man, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, man. I done seen them stand over you, broad daylight, 4 o'clock in the evening. You understand what I'm saying, man? This how it's going on out here, man. I'm from there. I'm 46 years old, man. You know, and and under the umbrella of focus, balance, being calculated, and understanding is one word, man, that stand out. And I don't give too much away, man. You know, and I believe in my God, man. And I know, but like I say, it's one word, man, that stands out to me overall, man. And that word is called discipline, man. You know, because to get on your knees and pray every day, man, it takes discipline. To
Mhm.
believe in something higher and bigger and better than you, man, it takes
Absolutely.
discipline. It takes
Mhm.
discipline to do that. No matter
Right.
what we talk about, we can say and say and say as much as we want every day, say prayers, we could do, but man, who's getting out there and doing the work? See that little brother right here, D, right here in this corner right here, this little man right here, man. I deal with guys like this every day, man, from all over. I'm at a college university. I deal with them all day, every day. And you know what? It wasn't by coincidence that I'm here. It's by order.
Right.
It's by order.
Well, I agree with you. And you know what, Larry? I know you're always filled with a robust amount of information, and as well as Ben, both of you all, I appreciate you all for being on my show. Indeed, I love you, and I appreciate you also. You surprised me. Very well spoken tonight. I
Right,
know you're a
right,
very well
right.
spoken young man, but you stepped up for your grandma. But
You
but
made it
on the
shine,
real,
dog. You made it
yeah.
shine.
But on the real, I want to thank you all for being a part of this show. It means a lot to me. I hope the people that listened and the people who did not listen tonight will go back and listen, because I felt as if we said some really good, some real stuff. I think that, in my opinion, it starts with education. It
Hmm.
starts with accountability,
Come
and
on.
it starts with understanding that there's more to the world, than you
Come
wake
on.
up and see every day. I
Come
think
on.
all
Come on.
children have to
Come on.
have a vision outside of the four walls that they wake up to every day. And I feel as if we teach children that there's life outside of those four walls, they'll know that it's a whole lot out there for them to
That's
live
right.
for, and a lot for them to work hard forward to.
Right. Right.
So again, thank you guys for being on Curb Uncensored. I appreciate your time,
Yeah.
and we will chat again.
Most welcome.
All
Amen.
right. Love
Blessing.
y'all.
Blessing. Pleasure to meet y'all. Pleasure to meet y'all.
Pleasure to meet
It,
you too.
it
All
was
right.
great. It was great.
All right. Love y'all. Bye.